Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is right here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. I am a little distracted because I'm working with a new setup. I'm trying to use a real camera instead of my phone, which I used to use, and then I was using my MacBook camera, but now I'm using a real camera. But all my screens are out of whack, and so bear with me. We do have a little bit of bad news, although not unexpected news. One of the lawsuits against Scientology's tiny little leader, David Miscavige, has been postponed by a year. That's the bad news, because Scientology's strategy is always to postpone. And, you know, whenever that strategy works, it's a little bit of a disappointment, but it's not unexpected. The lawsuit that we're talking about here is this is the lawsuit that was brought by several of Danny Masterson's victims against David Miscavige and the Church of Scientology and Danny Masterson, and I believe another Scientology entity, for the stalking and the harassment and the intimidation that they were subjected to since coming forward. And I swear this lawsuit must have been pending now for like 5 or 6 years. And then the lawsuit was put on hold during the Danny Masterson criminal trials. Once Danny was convicted and sent to prison, the lawsuit was then, the stay on that lawsuit was lifted. And then David Miscavige and Scientology filed a motion against this lawsuit to have it dismissed. It was an anti-SLAPP motion. SLAPP is strategic lawsuit against public participation. That is the term for a lawsuit that is basically a frivolous lawsuit meant to curb someone's free speech. And an anti-SLAPP motion is when you try to get one of those lawsuits thrown out by arguing, these guys are just trying to silence us. So imagine Scientology trying to argue to a judge that Danny Masterson's victims are just trying to silence their Scientology's free speech. Okay, so the judge in the case completely ruled against Scientology in that. The victims, Danny Masterson's victims in this case, and there are plaintiffs in this case in addition to just some of Danny Masterson's victims, but the plaintiffs in this case requested leave to file a second amended complaint to add an additional plaintiff and to add complaints. They want to add racketeering. Charges is the wrong word, because charges is in a criminal trial. They want to add racketeering to the complaints against Scientology. And they also want to add complaints specifically relating to the sexual assault. This hearing was supposed to be about that, about them requesting for and possibly granting them permission to go file their second amended complaint. Instead, what happened is Scientology at the last minute filed an appeal to the judge's ruling regarding their anti-SLAPP motion. The judge has predicted that this appeal will take about 12 to 18 months to be heard and resolved, and therefore this case has basically just come to a grinding halt. Nothing's happened. The next hearing scheduled in this case is in about a year. Now, Dodge Landesman was present in court today for the hearing, and Dodge is here to chat with us about what happened. Hi, Dodge.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Let me show everyone who may not yet be familiar with you your YouTube channel. You can find Dodge at Dodge Landesman. Okay, so I did my best to give a summary there. Is there anything I missed that you want to fill in? And what did you see happen in court today?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Ultimately, things still look good for the plaintiffs. It's discouraging. The can has been kicked down the road an entire year. And keep in mind, when we're talking May 29th, 2025, we're not talking about the start of the trial. We're simply focusing on finally responding to the appeal and going through all the bureaucratic preliminary motions. That could take an entire 3 to 5 to 6 months. So the can has been kicked down the road. The good news is this judge, Kalra, so far has not been favorable towards Scientology, nor does it seem like he's leaning on being favorable towards Scientology or RTC or David Miscavige in the future. Of course, he has to grant these appeals. One of the things that you might have missed is that Jane Doe 1 didn't show up, and therefore she has an order to show cause, I believe, and facing a sanction.
Yeah. Hold on, Dutch. Jane Doe 1 is not supposed to show up. Jane Doe's attorney was supposed to show up.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right. Sorry. So right, and so the attorney would face this potential $500 fine for showing up. There's somebody John Kucera, who is essentially representing her, and it looks like he would transition into officially and fully representing her. But his tongue was somewhat tied in terms of him being the most effective advocate he could be, as he verbally said, because he was not yet officially representing her. Because of that, and because he wasn't the official lawyer, the other attorneys got this potential sanction. And I should know, I believe, even though Jane Doe wasn't supposed to show up, she still is. It's her and her attorneys who I think would get the sanction. So she was, from what I gathered by the judge, she was also physically supposed to show up. Now, that was tougher because she was still in transition with her legal team. But I believe it's...
No. I promise you, the plaintiffs aren't expected to show up in court.
Okay, so not the actual plaintiffs, just the attorney.
Yeah.
Good to make that correct. I was looking at a previous source, so I looked at Tony Ortega. That might have been very incorrect. And I didn't think I really heard that. That's what he listed. So that's an interesting point of correction to make. But yeah, so the other ones are facing a $500 fine, and they need to show an order of cause as to why they shouldn't have to face that $500 fine. Other than that, yeah, the big question is, can Scientology be charged with the additional RICO Act, with the additional RICO violation, as well as can this new plaintiff and actress Trisha also be listed as part of this lawsuit? Again, we won't know any of that, not even for up to a year, but probably for up to a year and 3 months. So I guess Scientology's classic tactic is to simply stall as much as they possibly can.
Right.
And they were successful.
That is interesting about the attorney, because in an update that I did about the other trafficking lawsuit against David Miscavige, of which Jane Doe 1 is the plaintiff. See, so Jane Doe, we call her Jane Doe 1 because she was Jane Doe 1 in the Danny Masterson trial.
Right.
Technically speaking, that designation is no longer applicable.
No, it's irrelevant.
But it's what she's come to be known as, just because, I guess just because. So my understanding is this: all of the plaintiffs, I can't speak for all of the plaintiffs. Okay, but I'll say it potentially improperly, but we'll work with it. All of the plaintiffs in this current lawsuit of Bixler versus David Miscavige Scientology et al. The lawyer that you were talking about who showed up today was John Kucera from Boys Schiller.
That's correct.
Something like that.
Yes,
Schiller?
that's correct.
And he has represented, I risk overstating this, but I just want to say, represented all the plaintiffs in this case except for Jane Doe 1, who's been represented by Bradley Edwards.
So he'd be a good person to have then.
Well, so I noticed it was reported today that Bradley Edwards is the lawyer who the judge is saying should have been there and wasn't, right?
Yeah, but then again, that was the lawyer she was with at the moment, although it was officially discussed that she was in transition of getting a new legal team. Whether that legal team got fed up, whether she got fed up with them, I don't know. But there was certainly a discussion that the legal team she was using previously is not the one she'll be using going forward.
Okay, hold on.
Which is a bit of a bombshell.
Hold on. So in the Bixler versus David Miscavige et al., John Kucera and his firm Boy Schiller has been representing all of the plaintiffs except Jane Doe 1, who in this lawsuit was being represented by Bradley Edwards. Now, she has Jane Doe 1's other lawsuit against David Miscavige. She's represented by another firm. She's actually represented by Motley Rice and Bradley Edwards. in the other lawsuit. Now, what's interesting is that I did an update in that other lawsuit just a few days ago, and it was revealed that David Miscavige was asking for a stay in that lawsuit because Jane Doe 1's, there was going to be some changes in her representation.
Yeah, right, which was weird. It was two of the same conversations and two different things, which was weird.
Right. And so the exhibit that Scientology's attorneys included in their motion for a delay in that trial included an email chain. And Scientology's attorneys were sending an email to Bradley Edwards and to Linda Singer at Motley Rice. And only Bradley Edwards responded, but he responded by saying, we, right? We. So it was almost like he was speaking for himself and Motley Rice. Now, so that email chain tended to indicate that Motley Rice and Bradley Edwards, who, by the way, are not Jane Doe 1's only representation in that case. They're just part of the team.
Figured.
It seemed to indicate that Motley Rice and Bradley Edwards were tagging out, and some other attorneys were going to be tagging in. Now, I saw for the other trafficking lawsuit against David Miscavige and Gavin Potter and Bridge Publications and the Church of Scientology, etc. Now, I saw it reported today that in the courtroom, a reporter asked John Kucera at Boy Schiller whether he was going to now be representing Jane Doe 1 in this Bixler lawsuit, whereas up until now, she was the only one he wasn't representing. And he responded by saying, we're working on it. Now, I just think it's interesting that there's a common thread here with Bradley Edwards. So if Boys Schiller is now taking over representation for Jane Doe 1 in the Bixler suit, in other words, replacing Bradley Edwards, I think it stands to reason that Boy Schiller could be replacing Bradley Edwards and Motley Rice in the other suit as well, which would be interesting because now both of these cases would be completely represented in-house, which to me sounds like a good thing.
It's more efficient. I'm curious, do you think there's a reason why Kucera hasn't just officially said she's represented or she isn't? What do you think the reason is for the delay? Or she's kind of in this, even if it's only for 1 week, in this limbo mode in terms of representation?
Why do you think there's a limbo mode?
Right.
No. I haven't seen any evidence that she's without representation. I just think I don't think Bradley Edwards is no longer I don't think Bradley Edwards is no longer. I haven't seen any representations in the filings or anything that says she's no longer represented. I think there's just a transition period happening here where the transition is the new attorneys haven't come on yet. But if the new attorneys haven't come on yet, that means the old attorneys haven't left yet. So I don't consider it a limbo period.
I think that's right. I would identify that because Kucera in court was saying, I cannot say X, Y, and Z because I'm not officially representing her, which I found to be strange. But now that makes sense that she still has the representation. It's odd because I only bring that up because the judge still issued this potential $500 fine. So like in the judge's eyes, there's something awkward going on where somebody on her team would deserve that $500 fine. But that's simply probably just not for showing up. And they probably didn't need to show up if they knew it was just going to be an appeal. If the appeal was just going to get kicked down the road 1.5 years, why do you even need to show up to this thing anyway? So he needed to show up.
Otherwise, the judge wouldn't be threatening to fine him. Clearly, he was supposed to be there.
Right.
But I'm guessing it was just some sort of miscommunication.
Probably. Right.
But yeah. Was there anything else interesting that happened in court today?
Just a big team as always. 4 people showed up in Scientology's favor. Again, it was only that one physical person who showed up in terms of Bixler's favor. It seemed like the one who wanted, obviously the defense was very happy about the May 29th delay. And it's probably not that there was ever should be an attempt or whatever would be really, there's not much you could do as the plaintiffs, but there wasn't much of an attempt to really push that back or argue about it. Although there's probably not much you could do. If the judge says he wants to hear the appeal, then the judge says he wants to hear the appeal, and he wants to create that extra year and change to examine all of that. So yeah, I mean, a very, very quick hearing, and I think we all knew what was going to happen before the moment it started.
How long did the entire hearing last?
The entire hearing must have lasted 10 minutes, I would say. Lightning fast.
Okay, good. All right, great. One more time for anyone who is not yet familiar with Dodge's channel, you can find him at Dodge Landesman. Anything else going on in California this week, or are you headed back home?
No, I'm going to camp out here for all the motions because it's still happening on the 4th, right? Unless that's going to have the can get kicked down the road with with marriage lawsuit, right? With the forced marriage lawsuit.
Well, the lawsuit's not about forced marriage. It's at its heart, it's a trafficking child SA lawsuit. But yes, there is a June 4th hearing scheduled in that lawsuit. Scientology has requested a postponement of that hearing, but their they don't have a hearing for their request scheduled before the hearing that they're trying to get postponed. So chances are June 4th, be there or be square.
Very cool. Well, then I will be there. Yeah, I drove out from Memphis to cover that, and yeah, it was intense. It's about 6 hours, 5 days in a row, but worth doing. And I appreciate this opportunity. And yeah, the 4th, and I guess Leah Remini, there'll be a motion in her case in mid-July, if I'm not mistaken.
All righty. All right, I'll check that out and see what that is. I believe Leah's team had agreed to a stay in her lawsuit as well, but I've got to refamiliarize myself with that.
Yeah, we'll double check that.
Awesome, Dodge. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Keep up the good
Okay, there we go, everyone. All right, I do have the lovely Barb, SPTV Tattoo Warrior, in the back office helping me star some comments. So let's see what we have. Guys, in the live chat here, I do try to give me some feedback, what you think about the new camera quality. I was worried about it being too good. Like, I don't want you to see every splotch and blemish on my face. I mean, the difference between this camera and the MacBook Pro camera that I've been using, the MacBook Pro camera is so fuzzy in a way that a lot of people thought I had some sort of a filter on, like I was using some sort of Instagram beauty filter. I wasn't. The camera's just not the best. But this other camera, I kind of like it. But anyway, just let me know your thoughts. All right, let's see. What's Barb got going on here? Does it matter to you? Not to me. Every day is a great day. Not to be in a cult anymore. Okay, I can't help it. I'm going to talk about this damn computer setup again. So because I used to use, up until today, my MacBook Pro camera for my live streams, I had my MacBook propped up on like a box that's like this thick so that the camera was in the proper line of vision. But now that I've got a real camera in front of me, I took the box away and I've got my MacBook all the way down here in front of me. And the reason I'm sort of self-conscious and maybe a little slow today in this video, I hate the fact that I have to look down at my computer screen. And I want to know from you guys whether it's distracting. For me, it's intensely distracting, but mostly because it's not what I'm used to. And I'm wondering if it's a bigger deal for me than it is for you guys. Is it weird seeing me look down a lot more than usual? Okay, ND says, my first live at SPTV. Welcome, ND. Glad to have you here. Abigail says, Aaron, do we know why Jane Doe 1 was changing part of her legal counsel? Was there a fallout? Nothing's been filed explaining why some attorneys are leaving and some attorneys are coming on. I'm not even sure if it's normal for an explanation to be given, but I guess we'll see. I don't have any inside information on that. All right, let's see. Spike Z. The new attorneys will file a motion. I believe it's a request for substitution when they officially become her lawyers. Indeed. Now, I could be wrong, but I remember at one of the earlier hearings for the Bixler lawsuit that John Kucera or someone at Boise has been allowed in the past to appear. In other words, I believe it has been acceptable in the past for Bradley Edwards to not show up at the hearing, and it was okay for John Kucera to be there. I really do think this was either just, oh, you know what? This is probably one of the first hearings in this case where, yes, it was probably a previous judge that said that was okay. And Kalra is a big stickler for the rules. So I really do think this was just a miscommunication. Sunshines, I've made it to Alive. Welcome, Sunshines. Not only did you make it to Alive, but I pulled your comment up on screen. So every day really is a great day. Okay, let's see. Abigail, why would the lawyer show up if he wasn't officially representing her yet? It was pointless for him to be there then. I'm confused. When is the live stream with Zach? I know I really should have done a live stream about this with Zach. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. The lawyer was showing up to, John Kucera was showing up to represent all of the other plaintiffs in the lawsuit. Jane Doe 1 is the only plaintiff that he doesn't represent. Let's see, Destroying Cults. I like the setup with the lights turned off. What? Here. That's one light turned off. Actually, that's kind of cool. Nah, I like the lights on. Do you mean you like the setup when my light would occasionally go off? Okay. Tommy Tone Toontown. Camera quality is fantastic. Keep it. Yeah, one of the reasons why I particularly wanted to start using the camera is because when I was using just the MacBook and I had it propped up, anytime I would pound my desk, which I like to do, the camera would wiggle. Now, it still wiggles a little bit, but it doesn't wiggle quite as much. Thank you, Tommy Tone Toontown. Escaping the Cultiverse, eh? Hello. Good to have you here. I like this look. It's softer and easier on the eyes. Very cool. Kimby says, you may want to get a laptop stand. Yeah, I think I do want to get a laptop stand. I was using a nice one in California that I should just do it. Jay Rambo says, you're overthinking this. Yes, that's my job. That's what I do. I'm a professional overthinker. Jack Stevens says, you can barely see the YouTube button in the background. I think that's okay. I kind of like it when backgrounds are blurry in the YouTube channels that I watch. Okay, Duchess Diana says, actually, I think the looking down is a little more natural than where the camera was before, but it's probably just a matter of opinion. I think you look studious. Well, thank you very much. Granny T, I say keep the camera, but turn the lights on. Even Super 8. Well, what are you guys talking about? Turn the lights on. The lights are on. That's the thing. This camera just makes everything look so much darker. That the lights are on, guys. The only lights that I ever use are, I mean, the lights in the room are on. The light right there is on. The light right there is on. My blue lights are on. It's the camera itself that's actually making it look darker. Duchess Diana says, new camera is more like you're talking to us at the table than entertaining us. Okay, I just realized there's something else I need you guys to give me feedback on in the live chat. If I look directly into the camera lens, I'm literally looking askew right now. If I look straight ahead, this is me looking straight ahead. This is A. If A looks normal, please press A in the live chat. And this is me looking into the camera lens. This is B. If B looks normal, please put B in the live chat, and I will review the live chat later. Thank you very, very much. Suki says, I like the new setup. Thank you very much. Duchess Diana says, your light could be a little cooler. It's still too warm. I really like the warm lights. I'll have to actually have maybe Clearwater George or Kai can come over and I can sit in front of this thing while they adjust the warmth. And because if I start jumping up and changing it and sitting down, I'll never be able to tell the difference. So yeah, we'll play with that. Tracy in Tulsa, I don't mind the looking down, to be honest. Awesome. Thank you. Eat More Pizza Now, one of my fantastic moderators. You look great. A little more light for the background wall would look even better. Okay, good. Everyone's unanimous that we need some more lighting on that back room. You know what I can do? Oh, I think the brightness on my blue lights back there is probably not at full setting, and I can do that. Granny T, we mean turn the room lights back on. Guys, I wish you could see how bright this room actually is. It's just crazy that the camera makes it look dark. Lights off is sexy. Excellent. Great interview with Clearwater George. Thank you. I've also got an interview with Kai already and edited, thanks to the wonderful Kelly Copter. She did all the editing on those videos. And I'm saving Kai's interview for Sunday. I figured, unless I've got a bunch of interviews ready to go, I might as well just publish them weekly. So Kai's will be coming, and then many more after that, guys. Stay tuned. And that's the other thing. I also have to fix the lighting on the interview setup. That crazy Canuck. The background is darker, but you are crisper. Excelente. Make it make sense. Lisa from Jersey. B looks normal. Okay, but if I'm looking at A right here, is it like you're talking to someone with a lazy eye who's just like looking at your ear the whole time? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, does this look crazy? You know, I'm going to watch the replay. This is A. This is B. Camera A. Camera B. All right, there we go. Jay Rambo says, I think a disco ball would top it off. And Parasocial Audience wants to know that A looks like a psycho. That is what I was, the whole time I was talking to Dodge, I was camera A. Okay, so camera B it is. God, it's so awkward, you guys. Camera B it is. All right. All right, guys, that's it. Enough fooling around. Let's see. It is 10:30. I do have some more videos. I don't know where the day went, guys. I've been planning on doing a video ever since noon. Today was just a lazy day. So we'll see. Maybe I'll squeeze in some more. I have more videos I want to do. I feel silly doing videos too late at night. Like, why not just wait until tomorrow? But we'll see, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, dancing by my love, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.